Hi everyone, today I'm going to be making a birthday card. I am starting with some card. This is from a box set. It's the Color Box Variety Card Pack, and it's made pastel colors. And you can see all the colors on the bottom there. And I'm using the last card from the box. This is just a blue envelope that's left. And I actually did not match up the envelopes and the cards as I was using them. I like to mix and match. So you can see this is the pink card, and on the inside they're really nice because they're colored on the inside and the outside. And then the envelopes are really pretty. They aren't the traditional style. They have a little flap on the top. So I really like them. And I like green and pink together. I'm not a huge pink person, but when it's mixed with green, I really like it. So that's why I chose this to start. The next thing I'm going to do is make an inside portion for the card. I'm going to be using the lace Martha Stewart punch set that I got for my birthday. I'll link that haul below. When you use these punches, you have to use specific dimensions. So let me just grab that paper. On here you can see that you have different possible dimensions that you can use. So I'm going to be making a card insert for the front that is cut 5 inches by 3¼ inch. And by doing that, I'll have the correct measurements for the punches because you cannot adjust the middle punch. You have to use the right dimension. The folding here is just, when you fold it out, you can see all the markings to be able to line it up before you punch. So these markings here that you see, those ones are to line up with what comes out of the corner punch. It's the same pattern. And then the second area to line up here is for when you're doing multiple middle punches along a sheet. So because it's really finicky, I did this off camera. So I have my piece here. So this is what it looks like when you're finished. They're really, really pretty and they look really, really nice on the card. And here's what that lace piece looks like on the card. I think it looks really pretty to have all that detail around the edge. And I'm going to do some embossing actually on my card today. I'm going to stamp some things on the outside so that not only do you have this pretty lace insert on the top, but you're going to have embossed images in the back. So before I emboss the card base here, I'm going to do some stamping on the lace section because I do want to emboss part of my sentiment. I'm going to be using the Simon Says stamp set, and this is the baby party animals. And this set has really cute little animals and banners and sentiments. So I'm going to be using the happy, which is the little one up here, and birthday. I want to emboss the happy inside the banner. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the little cat, the banner, and the birthday onto the lace. And I'm going to be using my Fisker stamp press so that I get everything lined up how I want it to be. So the great thing about this is you can lay your stamps out and then you can line it up so it's centered, and then place your Fisker stamp press over top, lining those lines up. Then press it down. It will pick up the piece with it, but you take the piece off, line it up again, and then you have your stamps right in place how you wanted them. So you can see the little cat and the birthday. So that way you have your spacing that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and ink these up and stamp them with my Memento Tuxedo black ink because I'm going to do some coloring of the images. I'm going to be using my Tombow dual brush pens. I have 2 sets. I have the Jelly Bean and I have the Muted palette. So fast forward a little bit here. You can see there's my stamped image, and the colors that I used. Now I wasn't sure how they were going to color on the pink, so I did take a piece of scrap paper and I just colored out all of those jelly bean colors on the top so I knew what they were going to look like. I also tried out a brown, which I found that was too dark on a little cat that I drew in the corner. So I decided that I was going to use lighter colors on that cat so it didn't fade into the background as much. And I really wanted some white on the cat, so what I did was use a white gel pen for that. So next step to the process is I'm going to do some embossing, and I do want to emboss the happy sentiment here. Now I want to do some embossing here and on the card base, like I said. So I'm going to start off with my Lawn Fawn pigment ink in Yeti, and I will be using my Recollections embossing powder in clear because I do want it to show up in the white that I have stamped. So I have that happy sentiment on my little block, and I am going to ink that up, and you can see there with that Yeti ink. It's a really nice white pigment ink, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that right on here, pressing down, and there we have that image. Now I'm going straight over to my embossing powder, and I'm going to just pour that over top and then tap that off. Now you want to make sure everything here is dry so you can heat set that. And I have my heat tool. I'm going to turn that on, and it's nice and hot right away. And I'm going to go ahead and heat set the happy. And there we've got a really nice embossed heat set image. Now for the actual card, I'm going to take these little stamps here and stamp them all around the outside where the lace won't be. Now before I do that, I finally picked up an anti-static bag just to use on the card before I get started. So you take your bag and you just rub it across the surface of your card, and that way you get rid of any static or any fingerprints that will cause the embossing powder to stick to it. So I'm starting with the biggest, and I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. Now this is, like I said, it's pigment ink that I'm using, so it does take longer for it to dry than for example, Memento ink, but it does dry faster than the Versamark, so I don't want to do too many of them before I go ahead and put the embossing powder on, because I don't want them to dry. So I went and stamped a few of them there, and then I'm going to go ahead and just open my embossing powder and make sure that I cover all of the ones that I've stamped so far. And then you can just tap off the excess after you do that. And then this is the last one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for each of the sizes so that I've got all of them stamped and embossed, but not heat set yet. Now in between each of the stamps, I'm just taking a baby wipe and cleaning off the stamp. That's actually what you see behind the card here. That's just a big box of baby wipes that I keep on my craft table. Now if you didn't want to do it in steps like that, you could definitely use the Versamark because that stays tacky for longer. And the pigment ink might have been fine if I had done them all and then put the powder on, but I didn't want to chance it because I didn't want it to dry out. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set all of this. Now I know it's hard to appreciate in this lighting, but if I move it you can see all of the heat embossed images around the edge. I have to apologize for it being a bit dark. It is so dark so early now, so it's hard for me to actually film videos after work because it's pitch black when I get home. Now with some glue tape I went ahead and put that lace insert in the middle. You can see how nice that looks with the clear embossing powder with the white ink. It just gives you this really cool shine in the background without being sparkly. It's just a shine. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a balloon on the front. So I used my birthday balloon punch, and I punched out a balloon in the same pink as this, but I decided I wanted it nice and dark, so I used one of my colors from the Tombow set to do a hot pink. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on with some 3D foam tape, and I'm going to use a little piece of twine. This is something I picked up at Target. So I'm going to attach a little piece of twine to the back, and I'm going to thread it right to the little cat's hand. So to put the string on the back, I'm just using some regular wrapping tape. So just a actual small piece here. And I'm just going to put this right on the back of the balloon, and then having it so that the thread goes right down where it should. And I'm going to use the multimedia mat to attach it to the cat's hand. So I'm going to put a dot of that there. But before I do that, I'm going to position the balloon with some 3D tape. So I'm just going to snip a little piece off and put that right on the back of the balloon and get that all in position. So I have that balloon on, and then there's that dimensional tape back there, and I'm going to put just a small dot of glue right at the cat's hand. So I'm using my multimedia mat from Ranger with the fine tip, and like I said before, it doesn't come with this. I did buy it separately, and I'll link below the craft haul where I got that online. The nice thing about this is it dries matte, so you don't have to worry about that little extra bit there. Just a tiny dot and it'll be fine. I'm going to let that dry, and it will dry matte. Now while that's drying, I thought I'd show you something I do sometimes to jazz up the envelopes. Often I punch out extra balloons and put them on the envelope. I think it looks really nice and it's super easy to do. But today what I did is I had an extra scrap of wrapping paper. So this is just a little piece that had to be cut off of a larger package. And I thought this print was really nice, and it went really well with the card. Had some pinks in it, so I cut out a strip that would fit across the bottom, and I'm going to take some glue tape and just put it on the back of this, and then put that right on the envelope, and that way I have a nice little border. Another way you could do this would be to use some washi tape. I think that would look really nice along the bottom of your envelope. And like I said, I often punch out little balloons to put on the front of the card. I'm going to go ahead and just put some glue tape on that as well and attach that to the card. This is for my niece's first birthday, so that one balloon is just symbolizing the first birthday. I'll go ahead and just use a white gel pen to give it a string. Now finally, for the inside of the card, I've gone ahead and punched out 6 balloons for the letters of her name. And I did it in a nice green color to match that envelope. So if you had a longer name, you could just overlap the balloons, but I did them all just different heights. And I know it's really hard to see, but there are little white strings coming off all the balloons. And I did them in white in particular so that I could write a message over top of them without it looking messy with a black. And there is our finished card for today. So again, the front with that really nice embossing and clear on the outside with the sheen to it. The one birthday balloon to symbolize her first birthday. And then the very cute little happy embossed area, and then birthday. And on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and fill in her name on those balloons and then write a little message to my niece. So I hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope you have a great day.